Your time now is 9:04 this Thursday morning, and we have a Gov Talk program today, hosted by Scott Johnson. Today's guest is the Bedford County Sheriff, Mr. Austin Swing. Scott, take it away.
Thank you, Brewster Chase. This is Scott Johnson on behalf of Hopkins Farm Broadcasting in Shelbyville, Tennessee, Bedford County, about 50 miles south of Nashville, 25 miles south of Murfreesboro, in the lovely rolling and now again Green Hills of southern middle Tennessee. It's that time of the month where we have Bedford County Sheriff Austin Swing in to tell us and kind of give us some ideas of what's going on in law enforcement here in Bedford County. Good morning, Sheriff.
Good morning.
Good to have you. Was it a dry drive-in today? Wasn't too bad? Okay, a little overcast.
That's okay.
And you know what? I actually had to mow my yard twice in less than a week. That hadn't happened all summer. I think I went, a month and a half without, probably 3 or 4 weeks without mowing there for a while.
But it's like one extreme to the other.
Well, we're in Tennessee. Wait 20 minutes and the weather will change. Yeah. Right? Well, I know, Sheriff, you always like to start out with a few stats and comparing the month. I guess this will be July.
It will.
To July last year, right?
Correct. Just for the month of July.
Just for the month of July. Gotcha. Okay, my bad.
Okay. Well, at the Bedford County Sheriff's Department, this past month, July, the sheriff's deputies patrolled 72,801 miles. There was 772 warrants that was served by the Bedford County Sheriff's Department, 182 arrests. Total, and of course this changes daily, but total inmates currently holding 300.
300, okay.
Yeah, and we came out of a jail, 4 years ago that was certified for 80-something prisoners.
I was saying about 60 or 90 prisoners, and we're at 300. Okay, and of course you were holding more prisoners than that.
Oh, yeah.
Then. But, and of course this one's certified for over 400, I think.
406, something like a little over 4.
You about three-quarters full.
That's kind of scary no longer we've been there. But
it is. Well, we're a growing county, and I assume that grows with everything else, right?
True.
Inmate population.
Very true. And actually, during the month of July, there was 413 that were actually processed through the jail. So, very busy month, obviously, for corrections. I'm not going to hit every one of these numbers, but some of them that at least I feel might be more important or interest. The Bedford County Sheriff's Department had 353 investigations, worked or assisted working on 60 traffic accidents. Well, actually more than that. I'm looking at the wrong 63 traffic accidents. Motorist assist, 59. I know you liked all.
That's one of my favorite ones. That's where deputies helping folks out.
Yeah, 59 of those. Yeah. 21 escorts, 89 transports. That would be for like prisoners that might get transported to another county or wherever.
Or go pick them up, bring them here.
Go pick them up, yeah, a lot of that too.
Yeah.
Obviously. There was 310 traffic stops, 91 911 calls, and a total of 734. So it was busy for everybody, jail included, and sheriff's department as well.
Nobody gets bored. CID, patrol, corrections, everybody's staying busy.
They are.
No doubt.
A little bit on the meals in the month of July again. There was 8,545 meals that were served. No, there was a total of 26. I need to get my reading glasses. I got 26,000. No, I'm good.
You good? All right. Yeah.
There was actually a total of 26,211. 885.45 was breakfast. Same was for lunch. There was one less dinner, so I don't know. Somebody got out.
Somebody probably got out. I'm thinking, but a business cafeteria in Bedford County.
Amen. The cost they've got per inmate, I'm assuming per meal, was $1.11.
We just can't quite get that back under $1, can we? It's gone down a little bit, but it's
not what it used to be.
Well, it's like the dollar store; it doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
It's $1 something now. Yeah,
right. And total food cost in July was $30,206.99. Juvenile meals, we served. That can't be right. Adult total meal cost. No, that's the cost. $795.45. Adult meals, 29. So a total of $30,206.99. Even though it's cheap, it's still a lot of expense.
It is, and folks, just as a reminder to our listening audience that when you have somebody in your custody, you're responsible for their medical care. You're responsible to feed them. I mean, just something we have to do. That's part of it.
I'm telling you, that's we don't. I didn't realize, I guess, and I think most people don't realize, but we are there to take care of them. They're in our custody.
You're not in the punishment business. That's the court system.
That's right. We're there to take care of them.
The custodian business, right.
And believe me, there's a lot of regulations on how we take care of them, too.
Yes. That was an understatement, Sheriff, if anybody's ever looked at that. Folks, if you've never seen the Sheriff's Department handbook that's put out by CTAS, it looks like the Encyclopedia Britannica, and a lot of that's corrections operations, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big part of it. Well, we'll go down to the courtrooms now, the judicial services, and this again for the month of July. This is for 1 month in Bedford County. There was 6,039 people that came into our judicial.
Came through your screening.
Yeah.
We have to screen everybody security-wise that are coming in.
Absolutely.
That's the body count coming through there, right?
Coming through there. And that doesn't even include the Sheriff's Department. That's everything else.
Well, and Sheriff, you think about that, that's they're not open on Saturday and Sunday, so that's Monday through Friday.
Right.
People coming in there. A lot of them going to court, a lot of them going to see the clerk's office or the chancellor's office.
Right.
But that's a lot of folks.
It is.
So your court people are staying busy too.
Very busy.
Yeah.
And I've heard so many people make the remark that, what do they do? Just sit around up there?
No. Spend some time up there. You'll see what's going on.
There was 47 court sessions in the month of July. A total of 1,741 individual court cases. Deputies and I'm talking about that were working the court security, served 24 criminal or civil warrants and took 26 people into custody while doing their job. The deputies up there transported 132 inmates from court hold into courtrooms. So, as you've already said, that's a very busy place, and it just seems to keep going up. I mean, it doesn't seem like long ago it was like at 3,000, then 4,000, then 5,000. Now we've hit the 6,000 mark. So,
well, and thank goodness for the Justice Center, because it's planned well for security purposes. And the old courthouse, it just took to it.
It couldn't.
You just couldn't. You couldn't hardly secure it.
Well, there's no way.
It was built in a different day and time.
It was built in the 30s, and it was built to be accessible by the people of the county.
Yes.
Not to be secure.
Right. And nowadays you can't afford not to be secure in your court system. Mm-hmm. So I know we appreciate everything your court security guys, folks do out there to keep folks safe while they're out there.
Absolutely. And it's something I was going around, and I'm sure you have too, and everybody else that's listening in. But I know when I first became sheriff, we were really in this deep about getting a new corrections facility and all that we have now. And one of the things that some people would argue, they said, well, if they move out there, the square's going to die. There won't be anything up there. But when I go up there, I can't find a parking place. So, and a lot of those folks that, friends of ours up there that, tried to tell them that, and those are people going to General Sessions Court. You remember they would crowd the whole. Mm-hmm. You couldn't get a parking spot. Mm-hmm. They weren't shopping in the stores up there. They weren't using the restaurants. They were coming to court to see Judge Rich to get a rain or whatever. Exactly.
And when all that moved to the Justice Center, it allowed people to come up to the square and actually find a parking spot. But I tell you, it is very crowded now, though.
It is.
But no court system up there now. Think it would be like if we still had a court system up there. I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's allowed the business to flourish up there, quite frankly.
It did just the opposite of what some were saying it would do.
Well, and the county kept all the offices up there that, in the historic courthouse, plus the annex over there, all the fee offices, getting your license tags, all that all stayed on the square. So folks coming up there to do business in those offices, they might eat lunch up there and do some things up there. So I thought the county did a good job of moving the court system, but keeping all those other offices up on the square.
Right. The county commission and at that time it was Mayor Ray, and it was a great job and great foresight as well of the future, and just seems to keep going upwards, because as I say, it's booming up there, and as you said, they're not all up there just to go to court. They're up there for other reasons, and that's a good thing.
No, it's really great to see how alive the square is, and because it wasn't that many years ago, as you well know, it wasn't like that.
No.
And, of course, a lot of business people invest a lot of money up there and took some risks and doing a good job. And now things they're pretty much booming up there now.
They
if you
are.
ever try and go up to see what's going on.
And more coming.
Yeah, that's right. That's just the beginning, right? Trying to get her done. Sheriff, we're almost halfway through, and I know you got a special topic you want to talk about. I tell you what, folks, we're talking to Bedford County Sheriff Austin Swing about law enforcement things going on here in Bedford County. We're going to take a 60-second break and be right back.
At Dr. Hasty Family Eye Care, they strive to bring you excellence. Their family-friendly atmosphere makes going to the doctor a breeze. They provide their patients with in-depth eye exams with same-day glasses, a wide selection of name-brand frames like Ray-Ban, Versace, Coach, and more. They also have contact lenses and are able to treat ocular diseases and eye injuries. Need an eye exam? Trust Dr. Hasty and Family Eye Care, located at 605 North Main Street in Shelbyville, directly across from the U.S. Post Office, 931-684-2020.
Hey, listen up. Kincaid's is currently having a big closeout sale on all furniture. Take advantage of deals on a huge inventory of name brands like Flex Steel, Jackson, Catnapper, Ashley, Ardent Home, and so much more. It's time to stop by Kincaid's and shop the huge inventory during their big closeout sale while supplies last. Buy local with Kincaid's, offering financing and free local delivery. Located on the Kincaid corner on Madison Street in Shelbyville. Kincaid Service Company, where service is their middle name.
This is Scott Johnson on behalf of Hopkins Farm Broadcasting here in Shelbyville, Tennessee, Bedford County. It's that time of the month where we have Bedford County Sheriff Austin Swinging here to talk about various issues involving law enforcement and corrections here in Bedford County. Sheriff, you always bring a special topic to talk about after the statistics, and I noticed today your topic is one of the most critical things in law enforcement. I mean, it really is training.
Absolutely. Telling isn't training, and in a way, teaching isn't training. In some ways, in-service has become more computer-based, which most everything has. It can be done anytime from almost any place. The downfall to this is it's really not training. It was a few years after I had gotten out or graduated from the FBI Academy, and there was I cannot remember exactly the name of it, but it was you could do all your in-service training, and it was a lot of it based on some of the FBI classes. It was even some of the instructors I had. I could say, hey, that guy is the one, I had him and such, and the officers went in, and it was all done on the video and
online.
Yeah, online and all the training, and that was the thing, and honestly, it made it probably easier on the training officer, who was Lieutenant Adams at that time, but he hated it, and everybody, I think all the officers, I don't think anybody really liked it that much. And, when I look back on it, like I said at the time, I thought, well, this is the new and great way to go. But again, it kind of goes back to what the title of the program is, and telling or teaching is not necessarily training, and that's what in-service training is all about, is training.
Well, and I think what's happened over the years in law enforcement, I know when I was an agent for the Air Force, we had one director that came in, and we had over 100 units worldwide. He decided he wanted to go to all online training because it's more efficient and cost-effective, right? Because when you did training, especially that way, you had to bring people in from like 5 states to do training and stuff. And I think what they found was the retention of the information went way down.
I bet.
And over the years, and of course, you can't always do everything in person either. So I think we've kind of reached to a point where we get kind of a combination, don't we, of online plus in-person training nowadays. But certainly education is, it's a critical task in law enforcement. Something happens, the first thing they do is they want to know where the training records are.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, they do. They do.
One of the first things, if an officer, if they think the officer has done something wrong and someone files a lawsuit, the first thing they're going to go after is lack of training.
Yeah, pull the training
records.
If you get involved in a shooting, your firearms records,
everything,
which is training, everything gets pulled right away, immediately.
Absolutely. And training requires doing. It's kind of like, and I thought this was pretty good illustrations, the chalk talk in football is a key to teaching a team the overview of a play. But the training of players can only happen when they are actually physically executing the plays on the practice field. Not just football, but any sport.
Yeah, it's like running a drill, emergency drill. You can talk about it and have a plan, but you better practice it too. Because what are you going to do? You're going to play like you practice.
You
right?
do. You absolutely do.
Yeah. I get that.
It's just the way it is.
Well, that's kind of like with the sheriff's office and emergency vehicle operations training or operations of the patrol cars, right?
It is, and that's a great illustration. We, and when I say we, I'm talking about all certified law enforcement officers in the state of Tennessee are required to have a minimum of 2 hours of EVOC, and which is vehicle driving, emergency.
And that's not when you go through the academy. That's after you've already been out and been driving for years. You still have to have every year a minimum of 2 hours of EVOC training, right?
And we could go in there, or Lieutenant Roddy, our training officer, could go in there and show a film, and then we could test on it. And as long as we took up the 2 hours, that
fits a requirement for the state, right?
It does. It fits it for the state. But we go a lot further than that. We actually set up cones on a day that's a low court day, or maybe they're not having court, and we set up cones in our parking lot, and actually the officers go through this course, and there's different deductions. Points are deducted if they hit a cone, and we back up and pull up and turn, and just everything.
Things you do on everyday patrol.
That's exactly right. Things you do on everyday patrol, and that's that takes a lot longer than 2 hours, and that's okay. They don't care how much we do it. They just say
minimum of 2 hours.
2 hours. Exactly.
Well, speaking of training, Sheriff, and I kind of diverting a little bit, but for folks that don't know it, law enforcement personnel, deputies and police officers are required to do 40 hours, a week's worth of training every year.
Yeah.
I don't care if you've been in law enforcement over how many years, Sheriff? It doesn't matter.
Over 40.
You have to do it too, right? I mean, everybody has to go that's carrying a gun, driving that patrol car has to go through 40 hours every single year.
Yeah.
I know a lot of professions will have 8 hours of continuing ed or 12 hours. No, it's 40.
That's minimum.
Excuse me. Yes, sir. That's minimum. That's minimum requirement by the state of Tennessee, and they check those records.
Absolutely.
And they track those records from the training academy.
It means
or from
a lot.
post.
Absolutely.
Police officer standards and training for the state of Tennessee.
And I also feel the more you train and the better you train, not only does it improve the officer's chances of surviving, but it's also a deterrent to lawsuits. When they get in there and they say, gosh, these guys they've done it right, it kind of curtails maybe on what pace they want to try to go with. Don't say it. If I do it, I learn it. If I do it a lot, I learn it well. That's a lot true. This also applies to firearms training. Back in the day, and I'm talking about my day, we went out there, and you went to the sometimes even the 50, but usually the 25-yard line, and you shot. Then you went up to the 15, then you went up to the 7, and then the, I think, 3-yard line, and where you're just about staring them in the face. And now, hey, it worked. I mean, we were practicing and we were shooting at the silhouettes and all. But let me tell you, that's a thing of the past, too. Or at least it is with Bedford County Sheriff's Department.
I remember last year qualifying, rolling on the ground, getting behind barricades, having to jump up, fire left and right.
Yeah.
What's more realistic?
Absolutely.
Than just standing there and punching holes in a target, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, there's no way I'm going to get a helicopter or ask for one with the Bedford County Sheriff's Department, because I'm afraid Kevin will have us rappelling out of it and shooting.
Shooting.
But of course I'm joking, but we really, and Kevin really has a nice scenario set up. As you say, you shoot with both hands, you shoot this side, that
while
side.
You're reloading.
Laying down, standing up, squatting. It's
and Sheriff, for me and you, I don't remember them giving us any kind of age waivers on that. We have to do that too. So it's just part of it.
Getting harder every year.
It's kind of like firefighters, right? I mean, when they got to fight a fire, they're in smoke. So I know a lot of times they train with smoke, right?
Smoke.
I mean,
turnout gear. They don't care if it's 100 degrees. They got to put that turnout gear, put it on, and that's the way they train. And fire training is life and death fair with fire department. It should be the same for law enforcement.
Absolutely.
Here's a statement, and when I read it, I thought, this sounds just like Scott Johnson, but it's always remember that training is a long-term modification of behavior. And it really is.
Well, it is. I mean, yeah, hopefully for the better. But, it's like firearms, right? I mean, you get to the point where you don't even have to find your magazines, right, when you're changing them out.
Right.
If you train enough, you just automatically change it out. You may not even remember changing it out, your magazine, because it's muscle memory, and you've trained well to do that.
You have.
If you get in a gunfight or something.
And, PowerPoint teaching and training for an active shooter is about the same as trying to teach someone to ride a bike or actually train them to ride a bike. I mean, if you don't do it, it's just not the same. And I think that's in any profession, what they teach is right and it's good, but until you actually get on the job and do it, you're not going to perfect it or even come close.
Well, and I think, and you guys do it well, I mean, you got to have a combination of classroom training and hands-on training, for lack of a better term for our listening audience, and that's what you guys do, right? I mean, you have classroom training on firearms because you have to go over the legal requirements for carrying a firearm, using a firearm, when you can use a firearm, but then you have to go out and practice actually using it as a tool.
Yeah. And just like, of course, now it's a big thing with the schools and churches and active shooters. And I know you played a big part in this. We started setting up real scenarios, going to schools.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We have to, because that's how you're going to react, right? You play like you practice. I don't know how many. We can't say that enough, can we? I mean, really. Yeah. For those of you guys that and women that played sports out there and practice a lot, you got in a game and you just reacted, and you played like you practiced. You got to do the same thing in the fire department. You got to do the same thing in law enforcement.
Absolutely. So with that being said, I think anytime it's about training and just the spur of the moment thing, I think about the tragedy in Nashville a little over a year ago when the Metro Police got the call to school. But, man, they couldn't have done it better.
All of us that have had to do that kind of training, and I remember a time when you and I responded to the high school. We thought we had a gunman there several years ago, and I think you may have still been at the city then. But when I watched those Metro officers, they were textbook. The way they were clearing that building, and they're moving to the sound of gunfire, like you're trained to do. And, kudos to them for getting there quickly and neutralizing that threat.
And especially even where there had been some scenarios in other parts of the United States that didn't go so well, and I know I'm not blaming anything on anybody because every situation is going to be different.
It is.
But wow, that was textbook by Metro.
It is. It was obvious to me, and I think that's your point, that they had the training and they had the hands-on training, not just sitting in a classroom looking at a screen, that they'd actually gone through it. And even here, I know public safety, including the Sheriff's Department, does a lot of walkthroughs of our facilities, of schools, factories, whatever, so you can at least be familiar with the locations in case something happens.
Absolutely.
We had dead air time. That's not good on radio, Sheriff. I think we were both reading our notes. We're reading the notes. Well, we're almost out of time, actually. But,
I thought we probably were.
I tell you what I was doing. I was thinking about that Metro, that Covenant shooting, and what a tragedy that was. And I've driven by that school, I bet 100 times over there. It's near Green Hills Mall there. And what a nice neighborhood, nice place.
Last place.
Bottom line, can happen anywhere.
I said
anywhere.
Exactly. I said it probably hadn't. Well, I was probably working on this program is one of the reasons, but it's only been 2 or 3 weeks ago I actually sat and pulled it up on the computer and watched the officer with the officer's cameras and going through the whole thing, and it just as I say, it's so textbook. I think it's something that every officer should watch and maybe watch every once in a while to.
It's a good reminder.
It is.
Of what needs to happen. And I know that day we thought we had a gunman in the high school here. It's been several years ago now, but I did see a lot of people moving through that building very quickly, trying to find out what was going on. So fortunately there was not one, but it was a hoax. But we didn't know that, did we, at the time?
No.
Going through, so it can happen anywhere. We thought we had one in Shovel at that time. Fortunately, we did not.
Right.
But any of our factories, it's just one of the things you have to train for.
Absolutely.
And this is a point where I also thank Representative Marsh and Senator Reese for having SROs in every one of our schools now. You guys did a good job of hiring folks to get them in the schools, and even our new Cartwright Elementary already has an SRO. So,
yeah.
And thank goodness for that. And it's not the end all to be all, but it sure does help. And unfortunately, our schools need that. They just do. And, of course, the state of Tennessee is funding one SRO in perpetuity in every school. I don't think I can say that enough, Sheriff, the appreciation we have for that. So, because that's tough for counties to finance that kind of thing.
Absolutely. We've actually got an administration in the state of Tennessee that is very pro law enforcement and very pro school safety.
Actually,
it shows.
They put their money where the mouth was, didn't they? I mean, to get it done. And like I said, you guys did a good job of hiring folks. Obviously, folks want to come to work there because you were able to do that fairly quickly, actually. Because departments are hiring SROs over the whole state.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know it makes it tough on a lot of organizations for, all of a sudden patrol officers are going to become SROs, so they got a vacancy.
Well, and then you not only had to compete with everybody else on the hiring end of it, but then everybody's trying to get them through the police academy, and you can't.
Yeah, you're right. If they're not already certified,
if they're not already certified, they've got to go through it. And
I don't know if they've expanded their capacity up there or not, but
they did a good job of getting
folks through. Yeah, because I think everybody kind of saw that coming, didn't they? I mean, once you do that, you're increasing. Just like the county had to hire additional teachers to man Cartwright Elementary, had to do the same thing with our deputy sheriffs. Well, Sheriff, we are out of time now. Appreciate you coming in today. Phil, is there anything else you want to mention before we go off the air?
No, I guess that's all I've got.
Well, Sheriff Austin, we've been talking to Sheriff Austin Swing, the Bedford County Sheriff, about different law enforcement corrections issues. A key component of that, obviously, is training his men and women how to respond and take care of business here in Bedford County. I know folks really appreciate what the men and women of the Sheriff's Department do to keep folks safe here in Bedford County, Sheriff, and make it a better place to live and work. Folks, here at WLIJ, we have 11 government or government-related talk shows every single month where you get to listen to the folks that are actually running the show from the horse's mouth, so to speak. We like horses here in Bedford County. We've got the Walking Horse Show, Tennessee Walking Horse National Celebration coming up here real soon.
Amen.
Please come out to that. I know you guys will be actively involved in that, along with the city police and fire departments and everybody else. So come on out. But we appreciate you tuning in to the only locally owned radio station here in Bedford County. Scott Johnson on behalf of Hopkins Farm Broadcasting. Until next time.